Archangel Michael says, "There is more being said about you than meets the eye. I come to you with divine truth, behind your back, in quiet corners and secret places, your name has been carried." And oddly enough, what sparked their curiosity was your clothes. Yes, something as simple as what you wear has stirred a conversation. But this isn't about fabric or fashion. It's about the aura you carry. You've become a walking contradiction to their expectations. You dress in humility, but you are the confidence of a soul who's survived hell and still walks with light. You may not wear the most expensive robes, but your presence feels royal. Someone, or more than one, has whispered things like, "Who does she think she is wearing that? Look at him, like he's important or something. She wore that same jacket last week, trying too hard." They see the outer layer, but they don't understand the inner battle you've conquered to show up at all. There are those who find it difficult to believe that you still have the audacity to appear radiant when life tried to crush you. What they don't realize is, your radiance doesn't come from the brands you wear, the accessories you choose, or the designer labels they chase. It comes from the divine fire that walks with you, unbought, untamed, and undeniable. They talk because they see something they can't name. It unsettles them. Why does your presence feel like a message? Why do you stand out even in a plain outfit? Why can't they look away when you enter the room, even if you're dressed simply? Because heaven anointed you with more than garments. You are favor. You are survival. You are purpose. Type Amen 787 to get blessings. And those who lack understanding feel threatened by what they cannot explain. Let me be clear, this is not a call to change your appearance, it is a call to recognize your divine armor. You've walked through battles in that same outfit they mocked. You've cried in those shoes. You've stood in storms dressed in what you had, and still looked like light to those who were watching. You're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing history. Victory. A testimony. The enemy often uses petty conversations to plant deep seeds of shame. But heaven interrupts those whispers right now. Do not let their words distort your view of yourself. Do not shrink, do not hide, and do not silence the power you carry. This first whisper of gossip is just the beginning of something heaven is about to flip. The very thing they mock today will be the thing that marks you as chosen tomorrow. Keep walking boldly in what you wear, child of light, because you've already been seen, not just by them, but by heaven. And heaven approves. You must understand something sacred, the way you dress is not accidental. Even when you've thrown something on in a hurry, even when you doubted your reflection in the mirror, even when you told yourself it was just clothes, heaven was watching something far deeper unfold. What you wear is not simply stitched fabric. It is energy. It is memory. It is a mirror of your identity, your values, your soul's journey. Every color you choose, every piece you reach for, even when you're not fully aware, is influenced by the frequency you carry. You're not dressing for them. You're dressing from within. Type Amen 9877 to get blessings. There is divine symbolism hidden in your garments. The oversized hoodie? It carries safety. The carefully chosen accessories? They reflect how you reclaim control. That bold red you wore once, even nervously? It was your spirit declaring war on timidity. Others may not understand this. They only see the surface. They think it's about fashion when it's really about frequency. That's why their words sting sometimes. Because deep down, they sense something in you that they can't define, and they mock what they cannot name. I tell you this, not so you grow defensive, but so you remember who you are. You are wrapped in a spiritual cloak, one that reflects royalty, grace, warfare, resilience, and divine favor. Every time you step out into the world, the universe watches to see how you wear that cloak. And so do your enemies. They may not even realize why they feel discomfort when you walk into a room, but their spirit senses it. Something about you feels ordained. In fact, some are obsessed with your clothing not because they think it's stylish, but because it defies logic. How could someone going through what you're going through still appear so radiant? How can someone who isn't wearing designer labels still carry an energy that pulls focus in every room? Because you are clothed in light. The garments you wear, no matter how plain or extravagant, have been touched by your story. They carry a sacred fingerprint of your experiences, your battles, your healing. You don't just dress your body. You've been dressing your soul, whether you realized it or not. And now heaven is amplifying your wardrobe in the spirit. What once looked ordinary will begin to feel like armor. What once made you feel invisible will soon make you unforgettable. There is a shift taking place, and it's not about trends, it's about identity. You're being called to step into the next version of yourself, and even your clothing will evolve as a reflection of that transformation. Type Amen 654 to get blessings. So take pride in what you wear, even on the days you feel unsure. Don't underestimate the power of wrapping yourself in what feels true to your spirit. Whether it's a flowing scarf, a plain t-shirt, or a robe of elegance, if it makes your soul feel seen, wear it. Because heaven already does. And those who once judged your style, soon, they will ask where you found such light. There are moments in this world where cruelty does not show up with weapons, but with words. Quiet words. Sarcastic laughter. The kind that enters unnoticed but cuts like a blade. Heaven saw what you didn't. And I must now reveal what has been hidden in shadows. A group of individuals, some you know and some you trust, spoke of you in ways that mocked what was sacred. Your name came up in their conversation, casually, then repeatedly. The discussion may have started lighthearted. Did you see what she wore today? He's always trying to look like he's important. But the tone shifted quickly. It became a circle of criticism. A silent spiritual trial, and you weren't even in the room to defend yourself. This was not just petty gossip. This was spiritual warfare disguised as conversation. These individuals are not attacking your clothes. They're attacking your confidence. Your sense of self. Your growing freedom. When they mock the way you dress, what they're truly saying is, how dare you show up so boldly? How dare you look unbothered by what we think? How dare you look like someone chosen when we still feel so overlooked? Heaven heard every word. Archangel Michael says. While they laughed behind screens and screenshotted photos of you in secret, heaven watched in silence, but not without justice being prepared. Do you think you were unaware for no reason? No. You were protected. Shielded from their toxicity because you were too precious to be tainted by their jealousy. Type Amen 565 to get blessings. But now it is time to know, not to retaliate, but to awaken. One of those voices you trust. One of those critics still hugs you. They smile in your face, but their heart harbors resentment. They cannot understand how you continue to walk with strength. How your garments, no matter how ordinary, still carry weight. How you can look like you after all you've been through. It unnerves them. But here is heaven's promise: every circle of criticism shall be broken. Every group chat that mocked you will soon turn silent as they witness your rise. they will have to watch the very one they ridiculed be elevated in front of them. For God prepares a table in the presence of enemies, not to humiliate them, but to show that no human judgment can undo divine favor. Do not let their opinions rent space in your spirit. You were never dressing for them. You were clothing yourself in courage. And every time you showed up, yes, in that same pair of jeans, that dress you've worn too many times, that jacket they secretly mocked, you were testifying to the fact that you still exist despite the fire. Your authenticity frightened them more than perfection ever could. So, walk taller. Wear your story. Show up louder. Because soon, their words will fall silent under the weight of your breakthrough. They criticized your clothes. But heaven is about to robe you in glory. And this time, there will be no question about who you are. Archangel Michael says, "You may not have heard what they said, but the words were released into the atmosphere with intention. Every mocking laugh, every sarcastic jab, every cruel comment about your clothes was a seed, a spiritual attempt to sow shame, to trigger self-doubt, to diminish your presence without ever laying a hand on you." Type Amen 876 to get blessings. Heaven intercepted those seeds before they could take root. You see, words carry energy. They can create or destroy, bless or curse, heal or wound. And those who spoke about you behind your back were not just talking, they were casting. Casting their envy. Casting their insecurity. Casting their fear onto your name, your appearance, and your sacred walk. But I, Archangel Michael, tell you now, not one word they released shall bear fruit. Because heaven has surrounded you with spiritual soil that rejects poison. Every attempt to plant shame in your soul has withered. Every effort to dim your light has failed. And the words they meant to harm you? Heaven has transformed them into stepping stones for your ascension. They didn't realize the danger of speaking against someone who walks with divine favor. They judged your outfit, but your outfit was covered in grace. They laughed at your choices, but your choices were guided by divine intuition. They tried to curse what God has already blessed, and now the harvest they hoped for will never grow. Understand this deeply, they were hoping to alter your self-image. Hoping you'd hear through the grapevine and start questioning your worth. Hoping you'd look in the mirror and feel small. But instead, something else happened, you started growing. Even without knowing what they said, your spirit rebelled against their intention. You held your head higher. You wore that same shirt again, not out of rebellion, but out of peace. You walked with even more clarity. Because the words they spoke weren't just blocked, they were reversed. And here's where it gets powerful. Heaven is now sending back a spiritual reflection. What they said about you, they will begin to feel about themselves. The judgment they tried to aim at you will echo in their own hearts. The discomfort they wanted you to feel will stir in their own spirits, not as punishment, but as revelation. So that they may see the harm of weaponized words, and choose a higher path. And you? You are moving forward untouched. You are being wrapped in a new kind of covering, protection. A divine garment that repels dishonor and draws favor. Their gossip has only drawn heaven's attention closer to you. Type Amen 546 to get blessings. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them cast their words. Because heaven has already declared, you shall not be moved. You will rise in garments of strength, dignity, and divine light. And those who tried to stain your name will watch in awe as you walk in a radiance they cannot explain. Their words were seeds. But they forgot, God controls the harvest. And what's growing for you now is unstoppable. Let me speak to your heart today, not as someone correcting you, but as someone reminding you of who you've always been. Because I see you. I saw you when you looked in your closet and chose from limited options. I saw you when you stitched yourself together emotionally and physically, piecing together an outfit that said, "I'm trying." I saw you when you stepped out in faith, even if you didn't feel like you had enough. They thought it was just clothes. But I saw royalty hidden beneath simplicity. Archangel Michael says, "You dressed in what you had." Maybe it wasn't designer. Maybe it was worn, recycled, passed down, or picked up with your last few coins. But none of that mattered to heaven. Because what you wore in the natural had no bearing on what you carried in the spiritual, royal blood. Divine legacy. A lineage that traces back to the throne of the Most High. You were never meant to fit in their categories. You were meant to walk as a living paradox, humble, yet powerful. Ordinary in appearance, but extraordinary in calling. And so they overlooked you. They whispered things like, "Why does she dress like that?" or "He doesn't look like someone important." But that's because they didn't have the eyes to see the inheritance that walks with you. Type Amen 435 to get blessings. You come from a line of kings and prophets, of warriors and weepers, of saints who bled and angels who fought to keep your name written in the book of life. When you walk, you don't just walk in shoes, you walk in legacy. And that legacy is what intimidates them. Because it doesn't need labels. It doesn't need permission. It simply is. I know there have been times you've questioned yourself. Maybe I should dress differently to be accepted. Maybe they're right about me looking strange. Maybe I'm not enough. And to that, I say, stop right there. Because you are not on this earth to chase approval. You are here to carry out heaven's assignment, and heaven never required a dress code for glory to move through you. Remember Esther. A peasant girl with royal blood running quietly through her veins. When the moment came, she didn't need a title to shift history, just obedience. Remember David, mocked by his brothers for his rough, shepherd's appearance. But he carried the oil of kingship long before anyone saw his crown. So I say to you, do not let the eyes of man distort the identity of heaven. They looked at your garments and saw limitation, but the heavens looked at your soul and saw destiny. You are robed in spiritual majesty. Even your struggle has added jewels to your crown. Even your past has embroidered gold into your spirit. You carry a frequency that the carnal mind cannot comprehend. This is why your presence agitates some and awakens others. You're walking royalty in hidden form. And soon, the unveiling will begin. Type Amen 656 to get blessings. What they mocked in private, heaven is about to honor in public. What they thought was poverty, God will reveal as preparation. And what you wore in survival, it will become your signature of divine resilience. Hold your head high. You've never been common. You've only been concealed. What I must tell you now may sting, but it comes not to break you, but to wake you. For the enemy rarely comes in the form of a stranger. The serpent speaks best when it knows your habits. When it has studied your heart. When it stands close enough to whisper but far enough to hide its true face. And that is what's happening now. Archangel Michael says, there is someone near you, someone you've trusted, maybe even loved, who is silently feeding the narrative against you. Not overtly. Not with loud declarations. But with soft, poisoned suggestions. Carefully chosen compliments that contain a sting. Innocent advice with a hidden blade. They notice what you wear, and though they smile to your face, their spirit carries competition. They are watching you more closely than you realize. This is not about fashion. This is about influence. You walk with a light that unsettles them. You dress in peace while they dress in performance. Your simplicity is intimidating, because where they depend on outward validation, you are empowered from within. They want what you have, not your clothes, but your confidence. Not your wardrobe, but your authenticity. Type Amen 987 to get blessings. And so, without knowing how to steal it, they begin to discredit it. They'll say things like, "Are you really going out in that? I'm just being honest, you look tired in that outfit. You should try dressing more like /________." They plant self-doubt and water it with false concern. And slowly, if unchecked, it can grow into an internal voice that questions your worth every time you get dressed. But heaven is stepping in now to cut the root. This person may not even be aware of the Spirit working through them. Their own wounds, insecurities, or jealousies have made them susceptible to becoming a vessel of sabotage. And while we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, the spirit of silent competition must be named and cast out. I am not calling you to hate them. I am calling you to see clearly. To stop ignoring your intuition. To stop explaining away your discomfort when they speak. To stop allowing their hidden jabs to shape your self-image. Because you cannot rise in full power while someone close to you keeps clipping your wings in disguise. There will come a moment soon, if it hasn't already, when their words will cross a line. It will reveal more than opinion. It will reveal intention. And when it does, do not second-guess your discernment. That is your divine alarm sounding off. When someone begins to feel threatened by your growth, they will often attack your appearance first. Because it's the easiest place to make you shrink. Type Amen 789 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says, "But you are not shrinking anymore. You are stepping into boldness. You are seeing through false smiles and detecting envy behind compliments. And you are being released from the trap of emotional manipulation. Archangel Michael stands between you and this hidden agenda now. The veil is lifting. You are being given spiritual eyes to see who genuinely supports you and who only celebrates you when you appear beneath them. Let this be a moment of truth. Because you deserve to dress without doubting yourself. You deserve to be seen and not secretly scrutinized. The divine says, I have clothed you in strength, not shame. In favor, not fear. No friend, relative, or partner will be permitted to diminish what I have crowned. There is a shift happening. It is quiet but powerful. Sacred but undeniable. You may have already felt it in your spirit, a nudge, a stirring, a divine discomfort with your current reflection. This is not vanity. This is not ego. This is awakening. Type Amen 676 to get blessings. Heaven is preparing to change your wardrobe. But not just the physical garments, though even those will begin to reflect the change. I speak now of a spiritual upgrade. A divine exchange is underway. You are moving from survival mode to glory mode. From patching together what you had, to being clothed in what was always meant for you. You survived the fire. You wore your battle scars with courage. You stepped out even when you felt unseen, underdressed, or misunderstood. And heaven saw it all. The way you showed up in faith when you had little. The way you honored yourself when others tried to mock you. The way you carried light even when wrapped in loss. And now, heaven responds, it is time. Time for your garments to reflect your growth. Time for your appearance to match your elevation. Time for your closet to echo your calling. You will begin to feel led to wear things that carry the vibration of your next chapter. It may be a color that makes you feel alive again. A piece of clothing that somehow gives you strength. A style you once avoided because you were afraid of being too much. But now, you're becoming unafraid of your own reflection. This is not about impressing others. This is about embracing alignment. Because when heaven anoints a person, even their garments begin to shift. Remember Joseph, he was given a coat of many colors, not because he begged for it, but because his father saw something in him the others didn't. That coat became a symbol of favor, and a target for envy. But even when they stripped him of it, heaven's favor could not be removed. Type Amen 565 to get blessings. Archangel Michael says, you, too, are about to wear favor in a way that cannot be faked. And even when others don't understand it, they will feel it. Don't be surprised if old clothes start to feel strange on you. If you suddenly feel called to clean out your wardrobe. If you feel drawn to new fabrics, new designs, new expressions. It is heaven making room. Because you're not just changing clothes, you're changing dimensions. You've outgrown the garments of grief. You've outlived the style of survival. You're being dressed for destiny. Heaven is not only adorning you outwardly, but inwardly. With clarity. With boldness. With discernment. With grace. The new robe being placed on your shoulders is one of recognition, not by man, but by divine appointment. You will feel lighter. Stronger. You will begin to see yourself as we see you in the spirit, radiant, royal, ready. So walk into this change with confidence. You are not being vain. You are being restored. From this day forward, you are no longer dressing to hide. You are dressing to honor the journey. To reflect the glory. To walk fully into the identity you were born to wear. You are no longer just wearing clothes, you are wearing a prophetic declaration. And the world will soon witness what heaven has always known. Type Amen 454 to get blessings. Yes, let them talk. Let them gather in hushed corners. Let them smirk in shadows. Let them send one another messages filled with critique and confusion about how you walk, how you shine, how you dare to be so unapologetically present in what they deem too simple, too bold, or too different. Because heaven is about to give them something they never expected, a front row seat to your rise. You see, what they've been mocking was never about the clothes at all. It was about your spiritual becoming. What unnerved them was not the fabric on your back, it was the frequency you carry. Something deep inside you, something eternal, speaks loudly, even when you're silent. Even when you wear the same outfit twice. Even when you walk in quietly, hoping not to be noticed. But now you will be noticed. Archangel Michael says. Not for their approval. Not for validation. But because what's on your life can no longer be hidden. What they gossiped about behind your back, heaven is about to redeem in front of their faces. Their whispers won't be met with your bitterness, but with your breakthrough. And they will be speechless. They called you out of style, but they didn't realize you were never following trends. You were walking in timeless alignment with divine purpose. They laughed at your confidence, never realizing that it wasn't pride, but prophetic resilience they were witnessing. Type Amen 232 to get blessings. Some of them thought you didn't deserve to look the way you do. To shine the way you do. To walk with that kind of strength. But child, they don't know the full story. They weren't there when you wept in secret. They didn't see you dress yourself while carrying the weight of grief, betrayal, or spiritual exhaustion. But heaven did. And now, a reversal is coming. A divine unveiling. You will not have to defend yourself. You will not need to respond with words. Your glow will speak. Your favor will testify. Your presence will declare what your enemies tried to erase. Let them talk. Because soon, they will have nothing left to say. Archangel Michael says, where they once saw someone trying too hard, they will now see someone divinely appointed. Where they saw just another face, they will now witness a soul anointed for something higher. Where they thought they could bring you down with commentary, heaven is now lifting you up with confirmation. Do not shrink. Do not second guess. And above all, do not dress for revenge. Dress for revelation. Because you are about to walk into rooms where your name was already slandered, and you'll be met with silence and awe. The mouths that laughed will pause. The eyes that judged will widen. And the hearts that mocked will be convicted. Because what God is clothing you in now is not just for beauty, it is for warfare and wonder. And nothing can stand against the garment of glory. Type Amen 654 to get blessings. So let them talk, beloved. Because you are about to become a walking reminder that divine elevation cannot be stopped by human opinion. And the robe placed upon your shoulders now is not from man, it is from heaven. They'll say nothing, because your glow will say everything. Type Amen 676 to get blessings.